Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here for another episode of So Chatty. We're the boys in blue today, as you can tell. Yes, they are Walter's creations. And this is episode number 101, and it is Friday, May the 26th, 2023, all day. Okay, let's jump right into what I've been working on, because it is all about me. And let me just get it up here on the screen for you. Now, I don't have much to show you with this one yet, but this is going to be, well, a potential quilt for my sister-in-law. I'm doing it in shades of blue grays, lighter to darker. It's a Donna Jordan design, so you know that it's fairly easy to put together. I always like her designs because they're very clear. And I think it'll look very modern. It won't have any real prints in it because she didn't want that. But it will have texture, and I think it'll look pretty good. I've just started it, haven't got too far, but this is the pattern itself. And it's a free pattern as well, so bonus on that one. But what do you think?
Yeah, it looks really nice. I think it looks good.
Yeah, and I can't show you the colors, but I may do that on Idiot Quilter this week. So you'll get more of an idea of what this looks like. I might actually have more to show you than what I'm showing you today as well, because we're going to a thing, and we'll talk more about that this Saturday. I had a little coughing jag here a few minutes ago, and throat feels a little rough. I don't know why. But anyways, so I've been working on that, and now you know the quilt from hell, the Healing Waters one. And in Idiot Quilter this past week, I mentioned the fact that I was so fed up with that quilt that I didn't even know if I was going to go about quilting it or just leave it as a top and never do anything more with it. Well, I can't do that. I can't leave things unfinished, no matter what. So I was looking for edge-to-edge designs that I thought would give it a indigenous feel, because the fabrics are indigenous. And I found two. Now, this was one that I found on Urban Elements. It's called Native Fans. And I kind of like the idea of the straight lines because they kind of, because of the angles, imitate the flying geese that are in that quilt. And there's a lot of flying geese. So I thought that would look okay. But then I found what's called Aboriginal Arrowheads. And I really like this one. And it's a little bit more busy. And it's got sort of the triangles in it, which are the flying geese. And then it's got some little circles or bubbles or whatever you want to call those. And there is some of the fabric does have a circular design in it. So I thought would complement that. Now, I haven't started quilting this yet. I did experiment with the design on a couple of practice sandwiches just to see which one I like better. And then I showed them to Walter. And which one did you say you like better?
Either one's okay.
I suggest you say the Aboriginal Arrowheads. I don't know. Don't ever ask him. He'll change his mind anyways. If I say I like this one, he'll say, well, I like the other one better. So it won't really matter. It's not his quilt, it's mine, so I'm doing it this way. But anyway, so yeah, that's the next thing. Get up on Lucy and get going with that. So Walter's been busy working on something for a friend. What are you working on, Walter?
Well, he bought a new love seat for his balcony, and he's got a big pillow from, I guess, a bigger love seat from the previous one he had. And he asked me if I could reduce the size of it. Well,
of the pillow, you mean?
Of the pillow, yeah.
Well,
it's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding it today that I found the sides are the opposite sides, and you'd think they'd be symmetrical, but they're not.
You mean in the foam?
No, the foam's okay, but the
cover?
The cover, the edge, there's like a top piece and a bottom piece, and then there's edge pieces that go down the side. Well, one edge piece is longer than the other edge piece. and the width of the edge pieces are a different size.
Okay, it just screams of bargain basement.
Maybe.
Well, it does. I mean, think about it. if you buy something of quality, you're not going to have, in most cases, things being that out of line, out of whack. So it's either a second, or he got it at a liquidation center, or he bought it at the, Walmart, or
Yeah,
someplace.
wherever, I don't know.
So yeah, you won't volunteer again,
No,
will
I
you?
won't do that.
No. You should have learned.
Yeah, well.
When
Well,
people.
it's been an adventure.
Oh, okay, fine. Um, Whatever. So that's what Walter's been doing his time with. Now, we are going to a sew day tomorrow, Walter's sewing class. We haven't been to one for a few months because there hasn't been one for a couple of months. And they're having one tomorrow. They're small. There's usually only about four of us there. I'm the only one. Well, there is another lady there that does do some quilting too, but they're all garment sewers, so they're all modeling their underwear or something, whatever it is that garment sewers garment about. Um, but so what are you going to work on during that
Well, I'll
session?
probably take I have a couple of shirts that I want to go.
Oh,
So
more shirts. Yay. More shirts. For me?
maybe
Yeah. Always get that. Maybe. But anyways,
every shirt's for you practically.
well, it's because I look so damn good in them. Really. It's advertisement for you. In fact, we were in what we call the Broken Food Store the other day, a couple of days ago. Broken Food Store. It's one of those ones, talking about your liquidation. They have like some things that have, they either didn't sell well in the regular store, or getting close to their expiry date, that kind of thing, and you get them at deep discounted prices. And sometimes you find some interesting things there that are actually edible. Like today, I got Thousand Island dressing. It expired last month, but does salad dressing ever go bad? Really? Kraft. I've got salad dressing that I call vintage from 2021 still in the fridge upstairs, and it's still good. You just scrape the green off and eat around it. Like, it's not a problem, really. Unless it's green goddess, and it doesn't matter at all, does it? Because it all looks the same. But I digress. So we're in the store, and this woman goes, "Ooh, I was wearing my pussycat shirt." And she goes, "I really loved your shirt." And I said, "Yeah, he makes them." She goes, "Oh, do you have a store?" And I said, he goes, "No." And I said, "Well, you couldn't afford them. This is $150 shirt." She just about, her teeth almost fell out of her head at that, because, people like that think they can pick it up for like 19.99, off the rack. And we've had this discussion before. Not going to happen. So, anyways, see, Walter could have a full-time job making shirts, but yeah, who wants to get into that?
Yeah, I was asked that last night too,
Hmm.
when I went to a memorial service for somebody that co-worker that
He even
passed
gets a
away,
rise out of the dead.
and they're going, "Oh, you should go into business and sell shirts." I said, "Are you joking?" I said, "By the length of time it takes me to make a shirt," and
It could be the death of me. Maybe not a good thing to
yeah,
say at a
and
memorial
I
service.
said, "No," I said, "I do it for fun right now. Once I start, it becomes a business. I don't want. It's no fun."
Yeah. Don't
And
need
that I'd have to make all different sizes and things like that. Right now, I just make one size.
one size fits all. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I don't think I need any of those. I'm just looking for what I need to throw up here next. So, okay, so that's what we've been working on. Announcements, sewing with Stephanie and Steven, 9 a.m. Wednesday. This will be next week will be the last one for a couple of weeks, because both Stephanie and ourselves are off to Halifax for the Canadian Quilt Show. Now, Stephanie will be back in time probably to do one, if she so desires, the week after next week, but we won't be back by then yet. So it'll just be sewing with Stephanie at that point. But next week, not this week coming, okay? So this Wednesday come, okay. What's the date of this Wednesday? Let's see. Today's 26, 24, 31st. 31st is next Wednesday. There will be a sewing with Stephanie and Steven. On June the 7th, I think that's it. Wednesday, June 7th. There will not be. Okay. Are we completely confused? Yes. All right. So we've got that. And I've already mentioned that we're going off to sew tomorrow, at the club, as we call it. And that's an in-person thing. So I just bought a new bag, and I'll come to that in a minute. But Serger update. picked my serger up today. Now, I don't know if you caught the Idiot Quilter this week, I mentioned this, that I was an idiot. You know, I broke the blade on my serger by running over a pin. And the first rule of sergers is don't use pins. And so, of course, rules are for other people. They're not for me. I break them all the time. And I pay the consequences. So it was in to be a new blade put on it. And in the meantime, Jan, everybody knows Jan. You know, if you've been to any of the pop-up so days, craft and chats, that kind of stuff, Jan's usually there. And Jan says to me, did your serger not come with an extra blade? I went, I don't know. So I dug out my little box of accessories, and guess what I found in a little plastic bag? An extra blade. I could have fixed that sucker myself because it's just a question of loosening off a screw, pulling off the old blade, putting new blade on, tightening up screw. You can do it in 5 minutes or less, and away we go. But no, I didn't think about that. And then Walter goes, oh, do you have an extra blade?
I have the same serger, so
Guess what?
guess what? I have an extra blade too.
And he didn't know that either. So I'm not the only idiot. I want you
It's
to
one
know
of those
that.
things that you look at when you first get the machine and then you completely forget that you've got it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I picked it up today. It only cost me $113. It was $40 for a new blade. It was $60 for labor. So, you know, to take off the screw, put it on, turn on the screw again. And then there's tax in Canada, which is 13%. So it was $113 even. Okay, live and learn, right? I mean, I knew it was going to cost me something like that, but, you know, I was a little PO'd at myself because I didn't know there was an extra blade. Go figure. Anyways, that got fixed. I haven't heard anything about my iron yet. So don't know what's going on there. I thought I might hear this week, but Walter turned around and said, well, no, because the guy said he had 100 different things ahead of me.
No, he said that it may take him a few days to get to it.
Okay, well, how many's a few days?
Well, this Friday you took it in a week ago and we had a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, fine. Yeah, they probably don't work on Saturdays. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, fine. Well, I'm not desperate. I'm using my old Alicio, and that's working out okay right now. So that's fine. But you know, that one's gonna cost me too. So who knows with that. Hopefully there'll be no sweat.
Well, they said that if they thought that there was going to be a major repair, they would contact you and get you to sign off on the estimate.
So right now it means then that they probably haven't even looked at it because I have not had an email or anything from them. So okay, well, we'll see what happens with that. Now we had another repair this week. You know, we're going to the East Coast, of course. I mean, if you don't know where you've been, Walter decided that the car, because we're driving there, should have a few things done. Like was it?
Well, last time I took it in for it has a maintenance minder on it and says it came up that I need an oil change. So I went and got the oil change, but part of that was supposed to be a brake service. Well, I hadn't had my brakes looked at in a couple of years, so I thought, well, maybe it's a good time to have that looked at since we're going to the East Coast anyway. So I did that, and then I ended up having to have work done on the brakes, and then I had to have they came up with something else.
They always come up with something else.
Had to do, and I thought, well, okay, I'll do it because you better safe than sorry. I don't want it to break down while we're driving all the way down there.
Of course, we're at a disadvantage here because we don't know for sure whether what they were going to do really needed to be done or not, but they scare you into it. Well, you know, if that part goes, you won't.
Well, I did look it up on the internet, the part that they replaced, and it says that if it breaks, you can't steer anymore.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. But what I'm saying is we don't know whether or not that needed to be done.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it needed to be done. After all, my car is 9 years old, and I expect certain things to be beginning to wear out. But really,
well, he didn't say it needed to be. What he said, well, there was some corrosion.
You know, it said it was worn. and it was needed to, and they sent me a picture of it, but I don't know what it looks like to me.
Well, the other thing is, what I'm saying is, the point I'm making is, unless you're a mechanic yourself, you are at their whim. And you'll hear another little story here that makes me even more skeptical about
Yeah,
things.
well, anyway, so I got it home yesterday afternoon, and then I went to this memorial service for this person that I used to work with that passed away. And we came back out. I took one of the ladies that I worked with over there to the memorial service. And when I came out, there was this liquid leaking out of my car that I wasn't sure what it was. And
Could have been somebody on
I
an
wasn't
e-bike.
sure. I started my car up and it seemed to be working okay. And so I drove it home and watched it overnight. And I sort of kind of figured out that it was windshield washer fluid that was coming out, because it was coming out right underneath the passenger side wheel well. And it was a really clear liquid, and it sort of smelt like it could be windshield washer fluid. So I went down there anyways and said, look, part of their inspection was a multi-point inspection that checked for leaks, and it came up that it was okay.
Well, you know what a multi-point inspection is, right? They go over there, over there, over
Yeah,
there,
I know,
over there.
I know.
Yeah.
They probably all they did was probably stuck right under the car and
But
said,
yep,
okay.
there's an engine. Looks
So
fine to me.
anyway, so I took it over there this morning and I said, look, I brought it home and it's leaking. So they actually took it in right away and looked at it. And the guy came back and said, oh, there was a mouse nest in your car and it must have chewed on the end of the where the join between the reservoir and where there's a tube that comes out of there. And I sort of looked, I said, well, I didn't say anything at the time, but he says, well, and this is a picture of it, right? Well, wait a minute. The day before I took it in for service, it wasn't leaking, and it started leaking right after the service. So doesn't that indicate that it must have been the service that caused the leak?
No, the mouse took a big bite.
Yeah. So after that, I didn't have confidence in, it's a Honda dealership. I didn't have confidence in them before. I have less confidence in them now because, well, they didn't charge me for the fix, and they rightly so. But still, them coming out and saying that to me made me like they didn't want to own up to the fact that they did something to it, basically.
Well, okay, but there's a couple things wrong with this. Okay, right off the red flags go up. First thing they told you wasn't the mouse thing. They said, what was it? They told you something else. They thought could possibly be.
No, they didn't say anything.
I thought they said something else.
No, I said to them, I think this might be windshield washer. Oh, they said to me that it's probably condensation from your air conditioner, right? And I said, no, because that usually leaks out under the middle of the car. And this is leaking out from the passenger side wheel well.
And you had never turned on the air conditioner.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So, it's a mouse nest then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they show you a picture. And how fast did they show you that picture?
Pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It could be that it wasn't even my car. Because.
Yeah, exactly. See, I said to Walter, now hindsight is 2020, right? I would have said, oh, okay, could you just send me that picture to my phone right now, please? I'd like a copy of that. So you can get a closer look at it, right?
Yeah.
And compare. But of course, in the heat of the moment, you're not really thinking like that. So I said, it's hindsight and everything like that. I have a feeling there's a big problem with mice nests in a lot of cars these days that come through there. The other thing is this. I would have said to him, well, that's really interesting because my car is not parked in the middle of a field and left there for 6 to 12 months a year where the mice can all go in at the wintertime and make a nest. Mine's on my driveway, and it goes out several times a day, every day of the week. You would think that if there was a mouse nest, something would be dropping out from underneath it. What are they doing? All hanging on for dear life, going, we're on a ride again. I don't think so. Couldn't they come up with a better lie? Because that's what it is. This is a lie. Mouse nest. No, some idiot, when he was working on the car, accidentally hit that thing and loosened it or whatever. Why not just admit? Why not just say, oh, sir, we must have accidentally hit that. We'll fix that right up for you. No charge. So sorry for the inconvenience. Why do they have to lie and make up a story about a mouse nest? Now, yes, I have heard of mice nesting in cars. They're usually in abandoned cars that have been sitting for 40 years in the back 40 of some farmer's field and they're rusted out. Yeah, mice just don't crawl up in a car in an urban center that's constantly moving. Really. This guy has mouse shit for brains. Okay. But, at the time, I'm just glad that it wasn't anything more major than that. Actually, when we were trying to figure out what the fluid was, you couldn't really tell the color. It looked like it had a bit of a pinky tinge, but
Well, I knew that the windshield washer fluid I had in the car at the time was a grape colored stuff, and the stuff was coming out was really light purple.
Well, it was hard to see if it had any smell. I couldn't smell anything.
Well, I could smell it. I think it was smelled like windshield washer fluid because
so I tasted it.
It has you shouldn't do that.
I guess not because
That's
I forgot.
why you're coughing.
Antifreeze is kind of poisonous.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really taste that. I just, like.
You're supposed to smell. It smells sweet, which it did.
I couldn't smell anything. I don't know. Couldn't taste anything either. Maybe I need to have a bucket of it or a big glass of antifreeze. Keeps you warm all winter long. Yeah. Well, anyways, that's fixed and hopefully car is ready to go because we really don't want to be stranded on the East Coast. Although we know enough people down there, we probably get places to stay. But extended.
Well, I do have CAA, so.
Well, yeah, with it all. So, yeah, that's all the fun things this week. Okay. Next on the agenda. So when I went over to pick up my Serger, I said to Walter, I'm going to get a new travel bag for my secondary
machine.
Yeah, machine. The one that I take like to this so day we're going to and to classes if I ever go to classes and things like that. Because my other bag is the biggest bag, and I bought it when I first got the 15,000, which is a humongous machine. And my M7 would fit in that bag too. I mean, you need a tribe of midgets to carry it anywhere because they're as heavy as hell. But it busted. It folds up for storage, and it has these two braces on either side that collapse up. But there's no place to pick up the bag. There is no place to get a good grip on the bag so you can lift it. Like, I guess they assume that you don't have stairs to go up anywhere. Everything's a ramp and an elevator or whatever. With it. Well, one time we kind of yanked on one of those bars and guess what it did? It snapped off. I mean, you can still use the bag. It's a bit of a problem. It's just annoying. So I thought I'd like to get a new bag, but a little smaller one. Same company. They're called Totos or Tutos?
Tuto.
Tuttoo?
Yeah.
Two.
T-U-T. It's maybe two T's. I don't know.
It's two T's.
Oh,
okay. Tuto.
Like Toto, only with.
I thought it was two O's. Well, whatever. Like Toto.
No, sounds like there's two O's.
Well, for now on, I'm calling them the Toto bag. So okay, that's the way it's going to be. You'll know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, I went down there and ooh, they were pretty. They've got new coverings on them, and I like the cover. So I got a fancy cover one on it. They're not cheap bags. They're like $395 for one of these suckers plus tax. Although I do get 10% off because I get 10% off on most things I buy at Ultimate Sewing because I bought so many sewing machines from them. And that's the deal. But anyways, so I picked that up when we were down there and I've got it all loaded up and packed away over at the corner. However, there was a warranty card in it too, and you could fill it out, mail it in, or go online. So I went online and registered, and then it had a little box and said, do you have any other comments you'd like to make about our products? Well, I do like their products. They're expensive, but they are pretty well made. And, the problem with the broken arm was not really the problem of the bag. It was our problem. more so Walters. Like his, yeah,
I grabbed it somewhere it wasn't supposed to be grabbed.
I can't have nice things. Anyways, also I wanted a slightly smaller bag for that other machine because it's a smaller machine. Because when we go down to Georgia to Stephanie Stitch's retreat, you know, we're taking the car, and when you're putting two sewing machines in the car and a whole bit, and his bag is the same size as well. Actually, his bag is my bag. I gave it to him when I gave him the sewing machine. And so, don't you just get a lot of nice things? Have you broken those? No, but you break mine. Okay, whatever, like the mirror of my car. But who's tallying this up? I am. I'm like a woman. I never forget. Okay, anyways. So I said to them in their comment thing, I really like your bags. This is my second one. My first one, I had a problem. I broke the support thing because, you know, I guess you're not really supposed to lift them. And I said to them, you know, what would be really nice is if you redesign the bags and sometime in the future, you take into consideration that there isn't any spot where you can grab a hold of the bag and lift it up. And it would be good to have some handles somewhere on it. In fact, I suggested where the handles could go on the top frame. And it wouldn't be hard to design them. So I sent that off to them with a picture showing them where I was talking about on the bag for this. I got thinking about it, thought, well, wait, I could design my own. I have a bunch of old belts that I don't wear anymore, but they're leather.
Yeah, they're too small, right?
I have a bunch of old belts that are worn out for one reason or another, and that I don't wear anymore. And I decided I could rig up something that will work. Well, I'm going to show you what I rigged up because I have a picture of this. Okay. This is the top of the bag. And if you see where the zippers are coming together and there's a little loop, well, that comes with the bag. But if you look at those two corner pieces, those are solid and those are attached to the main frame on either side. And you can lift the bag up by those. The only thing is you can't get your hands in there to really lift it up. It's very, very awkward. So I took these two old belts, and you see one here and one here, and I just punched a new hole in each of the belts and shortened them up a little bit and put them through that frame on each end. And now you can lift that up. And the belts are very, very strong because they are leather and the whole bit. So I solved the problem. Maybe
See,
not.
It's too tall.
Okay. Fine. I stand to be corrected. Take him away, please. But anyways, I think I'm a genius. Don't you? Come on, you think
Good idea.
Yeah.
Hardly a genius.
You didn't think of it. I did it.
Yes, I didn't think
Maybe you'd like that on your bags. I have more old bags.
Yeah, maybe I have a few.
Well, you probably do because you probably grew out of them as well. I don't know if they'll be big enough to put through here because, you know, you're such a skinny. Yeah, really. But then I took this picture and I sent it to those people again and just said, and by the way, here's what I've done. And this is working. Maybe you could use this as an idea if you ever upgrade the bags because I think it would work very well. And I want a royalty on my idea. But anyways, I'm very pleased with myself. I don't often come up with a good idea. This was a good idea. So, and you saw too the cover on that bag. It's fun. I just think it's fun. So, anyways, the only problem with the bag is it's too short for a 24-inch ruler. It's actually 24 inches, but not the inside diameter. So, and my other bag I could get a 24-inch ruler with it, but that's okay.
Because it was a bigger bag.
It was a bigger bag, exactly. You have a bigger bag, you can get a bigger ruler in it. I've learned something new every day. Okay. All right. So moving on here about things purchased. Temu. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard everybody talking about it. It is just the thing to talk about these days. Everybody's ordering from Temu. So I decided to do a little experiment 2 weeks ago, and I ordered a few things. I ordered $25 worth of stuff just to see. Well, it came, first of all, Here's what's impressing me about Temu. They said it would be delivered by a Canada Post. It was free shipping in Canada. Um, and it would come by May the 28th. And if it did not arrive by then, they would give me a $5 credit. And they sent me tracking. They sent me text messages and they kept me informed. It actually was coming from the States and I could watch it all the way along the route. Well, I got it 2 days ago on the 24th, 4 days in advance of when they said I was going to get it. So that impressed me. But the real proof in the pudding here is, what were the things like? So I ordered some Wonder Clip like Wonder Clippish clips in 2 sizes. I ordered an LED strip of lights, multicolored lights for outside, 16 feet. And I ordered a package of cotton squares, quilting cotton. They said it was quilting cotton, 4 inches square, 50 of them for $3.98. So here's a picture of what I got. So the clips, the little ones and the big ones, look exactly like Wonder Clips, exactly. Work like Wonder Clips, are just as tight as Wonder Clips, not a thing wrong with them, dirt cheap. A package of 30 of the little Wonder Clips, I think I paid $4 and change. And for a package of 20 of the large clips, and I love the large clips, so I use those all the time. I use them to hold my pieces, my block pieces together and that when I'm sewing them and stuff like that, like, you know, keeping them organized, that kind of thing. I think those were something like $4 as well. Not a problem with them. They're great. They're wonderful. I'm going to order more. The roll that you see in front of you is the 16.2 foot multicolored LED light. Now, this thing blew me away. Okay. This had some features I did not know it was going to have. First of all, it is programmable using an app for your iPhone. I downloaded the app. It took seconds. It hooks to your Bluetooth system. It paired with it automatically. You know how you often pair Bluetooth devices and you push in a button and you wait and it blinks and the other thing blinks and it blinks and it blinks and it blinks and eventually it may connect. Not this. There was nothing to push. I turned on the Bluetooth. I put in the app. Bang. There it was. But there's more. I can have them go into any color I want. Like if I want it solid red, I can have solid red. If I want solid blue, I can have solid blue. I can have multicolor. I can dim them if I want to. I can shut them off, turn them on from the app. But there's more. And this got me really excited. Remember the old days of what they used to call electric organs, organ lights or something like that? I think that was what they used to call them. And
Light organ.
Light organ, where the lights would pulse to your music and, you know, the different colors would come up and it would go to your music. And those were fairly elaborate and expensive in those days because they had a lot of like old-fashioned electronics in them to make them work. Well, this little sucker, if I turn on a piece of music on my iPhone, in Apple Music or something, it will move to the music, to the beat. Not only that, if I turn on the microphone, when I talk into it, I can make the lights go on and off and undulate in different formats just with my voice. Am I excited about this new toy? Yes, I am. I'm so excited. I want to get another one because you can connect them. It's very easy to connect them. And the little suckers all plug into a USB. What doesn't plug into a USB these days? They're not rechargeable. They have to be plugged in to use them. However, not a big deal because, you know, I've got those little blocks that, you know, plug into an outlet and you've got for the USB on the other end. So this I consider the find of the week on Temu. $12.49, 16 feet of this.
And that's Canadian dollars.
And that's Canadian dollars. So that's the find of the week. Now, you can see over in the corner my little 4x4 inch squares, 50 of them. They are 4x4. Now, the reason I bring that up is because that's how they were advertised. But there have been some people I've seen review the fabric on Temu, and they thought they were getting 10-inch squares, and they got like 9 point something or other. And so things were not cut evenly. These were. They're absolutely 4x4. Exactly. Now, the fabric is not all that bad. It's a little thin. And here's one that I made into a 4-patch. And
It's not that exciting looking.
no, it's not. The patterns that are in it are, I wouldn't buy this stuff to make a quilt out of. But remember, 50 of these, 398 Canadian. Okay. So I thought, well, what will happen if I wash them? So I made this little 4-patch. And now there were some people telling me, oh, make sure you serge the edges before you throw them in your washing machine because it'll all fray. Yes, it will. Well, it might gum up your washing machine. We have a front loader. It has a trap thing. Never had a problem. Oh, okay. The other thing too was I didn't want to serge the edges. I wanted to see exactly if they'd all go to, like, would I pull it out and be a big ball of string? Well, this came out of the washing machine as you see it right now. Yes, there's a little bit of fraying, not major though. Now, did it shrink? About 1/8 of an inch. That is all. And did it come out in a big ball? No. I did press this, but it didn't come out any more wrinkly than what any other quilting cotton you throw in, what it'll come out like. So, would I make a quilt out of it? No. Will I order more of this fabric? No. I just want to, because it's a little thin. You can sort of see through it to a point. Actually, not all that bad though.
Well, actually, you can see through quilting cotton
Yeah.
really well too.
If you wanted to do a quick charity quilt or something, you could do this. Oh, the guy's on his motorcycle outside, revving it up. There's some old fart's been parking this motorcycle in front of our house for some reason, and it needs a muffler. Well, it's a Harley. So yeah, I don't recommend buying fabric from Temu, but am I disappointed in what I got, what I spent, and everything? Nope. I am very surprised. I am very surprised. Now, are there some things on there that might be crap? Yes, I'm sure there is, but you can order things on Amazon and they're crap as well. So I look at Temu as a way of, when you're buying something that is an everyday item where maybe high quality isn't really an issue, you just like the Wonder Clips, you just want them to work, then yeah. And like I said, I thought that their tracking system, their delivery date and everything were very reasonable. Will it continue to be that way? Are they doing this because it's brand new and they're trying to get people hooked into it? Maybe. Time will tell. But I'm definitely going to order from them again. So, yeah, I'm not disappointed. Not sponsored, by the way, by them. Although they asked, they did send me out a thing to see if I would do it. They sent it out to a lot of YouTube creators, and I don't do those kind of things. So I said, no. I just ignored them. Okay, so speaking of fabric, that brings up the whole issue of quality of fabric. And this is more or less for you to make your comments on, and we'll maybe next week we'll see what you say and go through those comments. But here in Canada, we have quilting stores. We have something we call the F store, which is known as Fabricland, and they sell all kinds of fabrics, not just quilting cotton, and it's always at exorbitant prices as well, most of their stuff. We have Walmart, but our Walmart closest to us does not really sell fabric, although
they do sell some fat quarters, but they're very rough cotton.
Yeah, they're not very good quality of cotton. They're more like if you're doing some kind of craft project and you needed some fabric for something like
they
that.
They have a fairly open weave, and they feel.
Actually, stuff from Temu feels better than stuff from Walmart.
Yeah.
So there you go. And of course we have Michaels. And Michaels is a craft store, and our Michaels does not carry a lot of fabric. I think
it's fat quarters.
I think it's just
fat quarters. And I think they have some pre-cuts
Yeah,
or
pre-cut of like a half meter or
yeah.
something, like kind of a deal. Um, Now in the States you have Joann's. Joann's is the sister to Michael's in a way because the coupon business and all of that, except that Joann's,
Well, mind you, they have a Michaels there too. So
yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, we know what a Michael's is like. We know what a Joann's is like too. We've been to Joann's in the States before. I've never been impressed by Joann's selection of fabrics, although I have been told by some people that no, they do have sections that are better than others.
well, I did notice when we were in Joanne's that time. It's a while ago now,
Mhm.
but I did notice that some fabrics that we see in our regular quilt store in Joanne's, but they seem to be at on a premium section or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, price and whatnot. There's Hobby Lobby. We have been to a Hobby Lobby before. Um, Hobby Lobby is a place that
Do they sell fabric? I'm not sure if they did.
I don't know if they did or not, but I have a problem with Hobby Lobby because Hobby Lobby has a problem with me. They have a problem with people of our persuasion, LGBTQ community. So basically, I'm not going to support a Hobby Lobby if I go to the States because they're bigots. Um, so there you go. But if you're supporting them and it's okay and you don't have a problem with that, then you just go right ahead. Whatever gets you through the day. Okay. Um, and Walmart seems to in the States, well, in general, the Walmarts in the States are different from the Walmarts here. They usually have a bigger selection of everything. They they have a bigger food selection. They have foods that we don't get here. Like when we have been to the States, we've usually hit a Walmart and I go, look, I have never seen anything like that. You can eat that? Oh, and they have booze. And we definitely do not have booze. Well, no, we don't.
Well,
Do we?
you know, the Walmart up here sells beer, but it's under licensed by the beer
Oh,
company.
yeah. That's a relatively
And
new thing.
but yeah, it's in Ontario. Most of our products are come from beer comes from the beer store, and liquor comes from the liquor store,
Milk comes from
and
the milk store.
liquor store sells wine and beer as well. They're usually more specialty
Their
brands beer.
government store.
They're
Well,
government stores, yeah.
the beer store is not really a government store, but it's more highly regulated
Yeah, the
by
beer
the
store
government.
is owned by major beer companies,
Yeah.
and the but it's sort of it's not really it's sort of almost like a provincial store. Like they take their direction from the province. So, and then our liquor stores are all province run. So,
Well, the thing back to the fabric, what I'm asking is, do you buy fabric from Joann's, Hobby Lobby, and Walmart? And how do you like it? And this is probably a question that's directed more to Americans than it is to Canadians, because I've already said we don't really have well, we don't have Joann's, we don't have Hobby Lobby, and our Walmarts are not like the Walmarts in the States, really, in terms of selection and stuff. And how do you find it? Um, when we go down to Georgia, I don't know if we'll get an opportunity to walk into a Walmart or a
yeah, like
Joann's or something.
quilting fabric we normally buy from quilt shops.
Yeah,
And then
or online
there
quilt
are
shops.
other fabric stores that sell clothing fabric. And a big one is this Fabricland that
Yes,
is a main chain type place, and their prices are very elevated. And then there's other independent stores that sell clothing fabric, and there are stores, all independent stores in Toronto that sell a lot of
yeah.
clothing fabric. So
So yeah, so we don't know. And my only experience with anything in terms of fabric from the States, like from a physical store, has been Joann's. I don't think I ever bought anything from Walmart in the States with that. And one other place that I did, I don't know if they're still in operation, but there was some kind of like a sort of a liquidation type store called I'm going to say see you next Tuesday, but that's not Tuesday morning. That's
yeah,
it. Tuesday morning. And I did buy a couple of jelly
yeah.
rolls there. And But this, they weren't really, they're not a fabric store. They have everything. And I'm sure
Yeah.
many of you know what this kind of store is. It's kind of like it's liquidation that they bring in. And so it's hit and miss.
Mm.
You know, you can go in there one week and there'll be this stuff. Next week it'll be something totally different. Whatever. But that just, I'm just curious what you think. Now, I know there is one YouTube channel that I watch on a fairly regular basis. I will not name it, because the person who does it, sweet lady, but she's always got the most god awful fabric I've ever seen, and most of it has come from Walmart. And maybe it's just what she picks out. That's her taste, but
Walmart and Joann's, I
yeah,
think.
oh, it is horrible. It's just god awful, really, and that's why I'm not going to say who it is, because yeah, that wouldn't be nice to it. I mean, it may be just her
I
taste.
mean,
It's just,
other people might like it. We just don't have
if
to.
it makes her happy, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. She does her. Okay. So, all right. So moving on to now, I have sort of a public service announcement or not, or a discussion. I don't know what you want to call it. Um, I I mean, you know, I run Zooms all the time, right? And I also partake in Zooms as well. And I have noticed that in some cases there's a problem, how to put it gently. Some people take over on a Zoom and make it very uncomfortable or less enjoyable for other people there. And what I'm talking about is monopolizing a Zoom session where they tend to never shut the fuck up. Uh, they just suck all the oxygen out of the room. They're busy showing you everything they've ever made in their life, and it's and to the point where sometimes people are rude. They will talk over somebody else or interrupt them in some other conversation. In some cases, they sometimes make certain comments about possibly other people that are also in the room, as well, as if those people can't hear the comment, or after the person has left, they kind of talk behind their back. It's kind of catty as well. Um, I'm sad to say that I have noticed this, just not on other Zooms I go on, but I have noticed it rarely, but a few times on the ones I run too. Um, I try not to get involved with that kind of thing because I am sure the people doing this kind of thing don't realize they are. You know, that's probably a personality thing. And I don't want to embarrass them or call them out or anything like that. But what I think people need to be aware of is when you're in a Zoom call or something, you should be on your best behavior. I know I want to see, I want to be in a Zoom call where everybody's having a good time. We're like good friends, you know, we feel safe. We're in a safe environment and the whole bit. But there's a fine line between being a safe environment and stepping over that line and hurting unintentionally, in most cases, somebody else's feelings, or monopolizing. Okay. Um, I have been observing this, not just in my own Zooms, but in other Zooms I've been part of. So I thought I should like say something about it. Just I guess what we need to be aware of in a Zoom call, or Zoom session, it isn't all about us. Um, I like to make lots of
You need to have
opportunities.
a sort of a
Yeah,
balanced,
like
like not just one person always talking all the time, or maybe two people talking all the time.
be aware that there's other
That
people
there's
who
other people that may want to talk,
might
or
want to say something. Okay. Um, you know, and it's great that people want to show things they're working on and everything like that. And that's fine. But don't spend half an hour going on about what you have created. Okay. Like, show it, state whatever you need to state about it, and move on. If there's questions about it, I'm sure you can answer the questions
Yeah, I
people
know. I
ask.
mean, if
But
you have several things to show, you can show one or two at a time.
yeah,
And then maybe later on in the day, show a couple more things and stuff like that.
well, there's another practical concern besides that as well. The thing is, mm, people have a short attention span. And really, initially when somebody might show something that they're making, people go, "Oh, that's really nice. That's cool. I like that. What's that fabric or what's this all about or whatever." But after about 5 minutes or so, people start to drift away, you know. Um and I think people need to be aware of that. You want to keep them wanting more, kind of a thing, not hating you because you monopolize the time and everything. As I said, I am sure that people who maybe lean more towards that monopolization don't realize it all. And it's hard to say to somebody, maybe you should back off a little bit. You're monopolizing here, and people are getting a little tired of you. Like, that would hurt somebody's feelings, I am sure, especially when they're not aware of that. So I'm just saying that I think Zoom etiquette is important. I think because we use Zoom now on a regular basis for all kinds of things, um, sometimes it's easy enough to forget that. Well, think about how you would handle a situation if you're a room full of people. If you're at a some sort of a presentation or something, there's things you wouldn't do in a physical presentation, right? You wouldn't interrupt the speaker. You wouldn't monopolize, although sometimes that does happen. You wouldn't monopolize the discussion because you're not the person that's presenting, right? It's not a competition. I think some people feel that they're in competition. They've got to show something that they think is better than what the other person is showing or whatever. It's not a competition. It's just a friendly environment for sharing. So that's kind of what I want to
Or,
bring up.
the same thing as if you're in a in-person retreat.
Mhm.
You wouldn't necessarily constantly stand up and say to everybody, "I'll show you everything that you're working on at the time." You would maybe show one person one thing, and then it would be general discussion and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And it's very rough on the person that's moderating it. Um, Without, if they take control, there's no easy way to do that, because if you're being diplomatic, but there are people who don't get diplomacy, they need to be hit right between the eyes with, okay, you've
And then
had your time.
they might feel
Then they get embarrassed, they get angry, they get resentful, they feel like they're being picked on. And for me, when I'm moderating one of my Zoom things, if you notice, I'll join in on certain conversations. Many times I just let the flow go as it is. If nobody is doing anything that's going to harm anybody else on an emotional level or anything like that, as long as the conversation remains pleasant, I don't intercede. I let it do its own thing. I let it go organic, kind of a thing with it. But that's not to say that there may be an opportunity in the future, and I don't think that's really the right word for it. It's not really an opportunity. That sounds like a positive, where I might have to intercede, and I'm trying to avoid that. I don't want anybody. When I have a Zoom, I want my Zooms to be friendly. I want them to be social. I want everybody to come away from one of those Zoom meetings feeling good about themselves and about what they were taking part in. They go away happy. Okay. I don't want them going away and second guessing. Was that person being sarcastic? Did somebody here do this? Or did I do, I don't want people that you should go away thinking, oh, that was lots of fun. I can't wait for the next one. So that's all I want to say about that. I just felt that there was a need right now. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, comments from the past week. Well, just quickly. Derek Scott said, I was wondering if you could have a go at the Spin Me Round project that Carola mentioned when you chatted with her. She said it was ideal as a short project to get done quickly at a class or retreat. Um, just a thought as I was plowing through exam papers grading. Wish I could do some sewing. I did download the Spin Me Round quilt pattern. It's a freebie. It's in my little tray of goodies that I might do someday. And yes, Derek, I may actually do that one at some point, but when I have no idea about it. Maxi Doodle said, "Hi Stephen, I'm watching the replay and want to comment about your iron. I learned Lynn on her old Stitch TV channel. Now, Lynn, I had her on one of my retreats, I think last fall. It was my retreat last fall, who came on and talked about quilt judging and things like that. Um, she said so. Said she, Maxi Doodle says, I learned Lynn on her old Stitch TV channel that sometimes if the iron is on the same breaker as other electronics, the load on the breaker is just too much. Could that be the reason for the smell? It's maybe worth a thought. Um, I've had several people mention that, maybe it's overloading on the circuit, kind of a thing. However, I do know what electrical smells like because I come from a family of electricians, and believe me, I know electrical burn when I smell it. This did not smell like electrical burn. Did it to you?
Not really.
It was a smell. It smelled like a melting crayon. Melting crayons, how they hit. That's what it smelled like to me. Anyways, I did sniff around. I have it in a very elaborate what do you call it? Power box, actually. And yes, there are some other things running off of that power box. But one, it is a fused box, which means that if something on it overloads, it will trip the fuse in the box, the breaker in it as well. So I don't.
And we have our electrical panels are all got breakers in them too.
Yeah.
And if any circuit gets overloaded on
They'll just
our
manually
house,
trip.
they'll break
Yeah.
the connection.
You have to reset them. So I don't think it's that, but never say never. So when I get this iron back, then if I don't, well, I'm hoping I don't smell the smell again. I don't know, but thanks for the suggestion. And that was it. Those two comments I brought up because people were concerned about it. So next week we'll talk about other people's comments. So remember, comment about the whole thing about fabric from Joann's, Michael's, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. If you have experience with it, what your experience was like, what do you think of their fabrics? What do we need to know about that kind of stuff? And we'll look at those comments and share some of them next week. Okay, so that's it for this week from us. So I hope you have a good week. There will be a So Chatty next Friday. But the Friday after that, there will not be because we'll be in the East Coast. But of course, we'll probably be doing videos, but just sort of on the line of what we did when we went out west. So, but yes, next week there will be a So Chatty because we don't leave until the Sunday after that. Okay.
Okay.
Any final parting words of wisdom, Walter?
No.
Oh, all out of wisdom, are you?
Yeah.
We'll run right out. Okay. All right. So we're gonna say goodbye. So goodbye.
Bye.